But you expect everything seems to work well in St. Johns County.
That's
what the superintendent always told me.
Yeah, from my 38 years experience, I don't expect too much hating from this kind of thing for a local problem.
Yeah.
There's 80 give the situation. But currently, the last week I started another publication about the Culex queen facilities. They're called the Southern House mosquito, breeding in the stone drain. So some publication in +1 that said it's a laboratory sensitive. Or Brazil is a test that isolate the virus from there. That would be a big problem. So far I cannot confirm about this. But it's still we keep an eye on it. So look at what's happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your hard work. By the way, your county health department always wins all the state awards. Commissioner, talk about what school districts are doing?
Sure. It's a perfect time to talk about that. Since about half of our school districts students will go back on Wednesday. Almost all the rest of the districts will start back this Monday. So this is a good time for us to just begin our focus on the spilling campaign and other things. I also want to thank Dr. Phillip. It's really just a great opportunity for us to be able to work together. And I'll tell everyone in the room that one of the things that's very important to the governor is that his state agency has worked together. We know one another, we have a good relationship, and he's fostered that. So this was not something that would have been strange for Dr. Phillip and I to pick up the phone and talk with one another and collaborate together and make a plan of how we can work together. I'll also tell you that I think it's a perfect example of government at work to help citizens. We often get bureaucratic, but this is an opportunity for us to be able to work together to make sure that all of our citizens are safe. So we have packets that are going to be ready to go for school districts so that superintendents can help their principals and their teachers and their students and their parent communities know exactly what to look for and, as the mayor said, be reminded of what's going to be important for us to be doing. And the lessons that Dr. Phillip referenced, for those who might be concerned, you might be the only one in the room that is, and maybe Patrick Canan, is that they are aligned to the Florida standards. So it's a great opportunity, actually, for students, that's right, two birds. They get to be learning something that's aligned to our standards, and it's done in a way that's very real life. Students get to learn something practical. And so this is a great collaboration. I think it's a good opportunity for us to help our students be our best ambassadors, as Dr. Phillip mentioned before. They will often bother their parents about doing the right thing when their parents... Or grandparents, as we would know. And so this is just a good opportunity. We are poised to do that. We've also got a great outreach effort, and within the department, we've all been working together on what are our groups that we work with on a regular basis to get the word out. So once everything is deployed, we will also do that with our other groups within the school system. We also feel very much that it's our responsibility to educate all of the public, not just those that are in public education, but we have outreach going to our private colleges, we have outreach going to all of our private K-12 schools in the state, so that they can be made aware, we're not just responsible for those that are in public school, but also for all of our citizens. So it's a great opportunity for us to do outreach and to bring the two sectors together, to do so in a very meaningful way that everyone can then see exactly what we are doing and do what we need to in order to keep folks safe. And I can't help but be watching the Olympics and thinking about some of those Floridians coming back from Brazil into Florida and our needing to be prepared for that as well. So again, doing a good job of educating. If we don't already, we will have that video on our website as well.
Superintendent?
Well, I think we've worked together for a long time, and actually Mosquito Control has educational pieces that they've brought into our schools for years. They do a great job, a great presentation, and we work closely with them on the whole prevention side as well as the treatment side as we gear up for school. So I want to thank the Commissioner and Department of Health for the materials. The quicker you can get those to us, the better. This is a good time, the beginning of the year, to start those educational pieces, and I'm delighted to hear they align with the standards, because that'll help keep our test scores where they belong. But more importantly, I think...
You don't bring that up?
I don't. You usually do. But we're excited about the Spill the Water campaign, and we will integrate that as quickly as we get those materials. And that PSA, if we can get that quickly, we can put that on our educational channel so that it can be shown, as well as in our classrooms. And so we, thanks to Chairman Canan, we modified our board policy regarding medications in school to where we can allow repellent now, under the supervision of our school nurses for elementary schools. So we made that modification and that communication today to our parents. And we're fortunate that we have school nurses in each and every school, so we can work very closely with the Department of Health to deal with any issues that we might have and to help coordinate those educational pieces as well. And with that change in policy, maybe some education for some that might be concerned about chemicals, and so that we can get the right message out on chemicals, and so that we can communicate with our parents, or at least be able to make the right links to where you can find out and feel safe, because we've got 37,000 smiling faces coming Wednesday, and we want to make sure they get the right information home. Commissioner Stewart's right. They do teach their parents, absolutely, and grandparents like me.
4.5-year-old.
Yes, they tell you exactly. You're wasting water there, or something else. So anyway, I just thank all of you.
If I can also add, it is not unusual for local school districts to have that policy of repellent being medication, and so I think many districts around the state are looking at their policies to see about how they handle that and how they might be able to change their policies. So thank you for bringing that up.
So if we could offer a statement on safety,
Yes.
that might be...
I think that would be helpful,
okay.
and we can include that as well.
Yes.
One of the things that we all can learn from each other are best practices, and so Miami-Dade College has a campus just a little less than 3 miles from the Wynwood area, and so I'll share with you that Miami-Dade College activated their crisis management team, began local conference calls, working with local authorities, as well as informing and engaging students, ensuring that all of the college facilities were also were being inspected to make sure that any sitting water that was standing there could be addressed by facilities, having the workforce in downtown and making those precautions as well. And so one of the things that we'll do is share with our 28 colleges the best practice that happened in the last few days at Miami-Dade College, and what they've learned from it and working with their local health department. I know here in St. Johns County we have a great state college president working closely with all of you, but I think our colleges have just a long history of working with our health departments and local leadership, and as we say, students that are informed will make good decisions, inform their parents and grandparents to make good decisions, but take the precaution. As you know, our college system has over 800,000 students enrolled, and they range from high school students that will be coming back next week to certainly our students who are expecting coming onto our college campuses. But all of our colleges do have in place emergency management systems, and they do activate those. I think that when we saw that in Miami-Dade, we saw the college lead with that. We'll be putting out all of the information from the department available to our colleges. Many of our colleges actually have high schools on the campuses, so that'll be distributed that way. And we'll be putting out information that comes out from Dr. Phillips on a regular basis with all of our colleges.
Mr. Pickens?
Thank you, Governor. On behalf of my board chair, Ms. Hancock, thank you for being here and frankly, raising awareness for this. Our classes will start about 10 days later than the public school system, so we have some time. What this event has done for me is, so tomorrow when I address the college council, it'll give me an opportunity to bring it up and talk to them about it. More importantly, when we have our faculty convocation, the folks that really do see the students, every day, we can make them aware of what they can do in the classroom. But what I think we're going to do more importantly is that I've found that, and as you know, our students, other than dual enrollment students, are adults. Some are young adults and some are not so young adults. Is engage our student government, or PTK, a student organization, to take this up as, on each of our 3 campuses in Putnam and Clay and St. John's, as a student activity. So that the communication certainly is directed by adults, but it's coming from students, and students are engaging students on what the precautions should be, what they should be looking for, those types of things. The still a video may be a little young for our students, but talking about things like, bromeliads I didn't think of, but I did think of bird baths and things that people, where they deliberately have, water that is kept in pools.
Inside and outside.
Right. So, but anyway, but the goal, my goal would be to engage students, and the more information we can receive and put in classrooms and put in student organizations' hands to help them spread the message is what we'd be looking for.
And we do have materials for the full age range. Because we wanted to be able to target kids or adolescents appropriately, so we're happy to share.
Available at each of our health departments in each of the 3 counties, or how does administration access them to distribute to our group?
And we can talk.
Yeah, we'll do distribution out to all of our colleges.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As well as make available repellent and other things on
Yes,
our
I got so
campuses.
excited with the PSA that I was remiss in my comments to share that we are in the process of getting enough repellent to share with each school, each university, which is a huge step, because you can obviously tell people to do something or recommend it, but if you give them that tool, the actual intervention, people are much more likely to use it. So we are in the process of making that happen, so thank you for reminding me.
Marcia, you want to talk about what the university system's doing?
Governor, thank you. One, I want to let you know that we are continuing to work with your office and also with the Department of Education, Department of Health, really to be sure that as we communicate to our students that we're going to be consistent, we're going to copy great ideas without reserve. If you don't mind, I'll give a shout out to Megan Collins. I think she's done an incredible, she didn't put this in my notes, but she's done an incredible job working with all of us to make sure that we're consistent. We have the pleasure of the fact that we just finished our summer semester. We had finals last week, so actually we have been working throughout the summer and communicating to our students, communicating to their families, and then we're preparing for the students as they return to campuses the next 2 to 3 weeks. I actually would observe, I think that your PSA may go great with some of our university students, and we may start a whole new cultural persona on our, I'm thinking, I've been around a few of these students lately, and if Pokemon Go can go there, I think we're ready to start. But it is, and so from that side, our perspective is communicate, but work closely so that we're all, our students, our families, those who care about them are going to have that same message. I think we also have an opportunity through our boards of trustees to reach to the business community in Florida and make sure that our boards become part of that communication strategy. And we're talking to our community stakeholders, our community partners, and making sure that folks in Florida understand that our state is prepared. And we know we've got a fall semester coming. One of my daughters will be going back as a sophomore, and I'm delighted she's doing it in the state of Florida. So we're in a good place.
And you can afford it instead of that.
That's true.
Or you can afford it too.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
So do y'all?
Yeah, thank you, Governor. Chris Schmidt, I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Flagler Hospital and also a clinician. And I just want to go back to 5
Very good
February.
hospital.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. 5 February seems like yesterday with the first case. I think the one thing that's put us in a very good position is we were prepared with Ebola, in the sense that we had so many dry runs and actual runs that this has become pretty much, I don't want to use the word no-brainer, but our staff they're pretty much at the ready. The emergency staff, and this is the group that I would be more concerned with as we roll into a flu season and so forth. I could see a lot of worried well. So there's a lot of prep on behalf of the clinicians to know exactly what to be screening for. This is a question now asked, just like it was when we had the travel history with Ebola. And the education that comes from DOH, our Director of Infection Prevention, working, completely in tandem with Dr. Alcock and her crew to ensure that anytime an ER clinician or community physician reports up, the message gets communicated immediately. Same with our lab. So that if we ever are doing it on site, we're ready. But as we send up specimens and so forth, we'll be ready to go. The big push, I think, for us is number one, early detection, joining the education mission because of the number of folks that go through our hospital every day, and then also the treatment when it comes to that. A key focus is our maternal child care arena and making sure those clinicians and nurses are also ready to provide not only the physical but also emotional support through some of that. But as you all know, we're the only game in town, the only hospital in the county, so we've got a big task on our shoulders, but we're ready.
We've done 2 calls that we organized with the CDC to healthcare providers around the state, and we're going to organize another call to just keep everybody informed. I mean, I think everybody in healthcare will tell you that they're learning more about this every day. So they're doing everything they can to keep people informed.
And our intent too with our, CME, getting our medical staff together as this continues to progress is pretty frequent messages to all of the medical staff so that they're hearing the same exact thing whether they're working in their office or they're working in the hospital.
Thank you, Governor. My name is Patrick Canana. I've met you a few times, Chairman of the school board, and it sounds like a broken record, but we have the smartest kids in the state for 8 years, so we will spill the water, no doubt about it. But as I'm listening, what I've become concerned about was I heard 6.8 million visitors, and this morning I read an article, and I don't know if it's true, I assume it was, that in Puerto Rico there's 8,000 confirmed cases, and 1,000 a week. It's growing, and so as these people do come back from Rio, and we have such close proximity, obviously a territory, people visiting here has got to be one of our major concerns. Visiting the state, but certainly our county. And so I kind of think about our kids as it relates to that and wondering what's happening, if there's anything that can be done about that, because it seems like that's how it's going to come here, is from people visiting.
We have met with our airport directors. We've had calls with our airport directors, same with our port directors, about doing everything they can to educate everybody that's coming through port or coming through the airport. We've talked to the individuals running our cruise ships, doing the same thing. But we're a travel state. I mean, if people come here, we're going to have 110 million tourists hopefully this year plus. But with a good county health department, with good mosquito control, with a good education system, if we're doing the right things, if they do their job, plus every citizen gets rid of the water, wears the right clothes, wears a bug repellent, then this is something we can deal with. We've beaten, so far, chikungunya and dengue fever, and so we've stopped the travel-related cases of that. And so we're the biggest melting pot in the world. That's what we are. So I mean, that's not going to change.
Capital city mosquito.
But you can tell that they've had an impact by what they've done. So we can do this if everybody's got to work on it. I was down. Dr. Philip and I were down in the Keys, and the individual running the mosquito board down there says, I've got 76,000 people that I can engage, the right way to help me. And that's, you have 200-some-thousand people in this county. So we're still going to have tourists. It's 1.2 million jobs. All the tourists. All of them. My job. My many jobs.
Thank you, Governor. I came down today actually just to find out how many people would identify me as you and address me as Governor. But I do, from the Board of County Commissioners, it is neat to watch the collaborative and cooperative effort that's put forward by all of our entities, both public and private. And I want to commend Dr. Alcock and the board that meets here, the advisory council that meets together, that all those, whether it be the school board, the sheriff's office, the mosquito control, to emergency operations, to Flagler Hospital and other private entities, all gather together, and it meets consistently, persistently, and it's actually effectual. Effectual works very effectual.
Your county works well together.
We actually have a really good working relationship, and it's nice to watch and to witness because that's not the way it is in other places. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the work. These guys do a killer job. That's what I'll say. And others are doing an awesome job too, and we work well together. The one thing that I'd like to bring up is in regard to the tourist industry. And one thing that we need to combat is sometimes perception. And, you know, all it takes is a perceptual event to deter people from coming to our state. This county main industry is tourism, like it is with the state. And, you know, that needs to be protected. And it is protected based on the very premise that you've done with education, capability, and a proactive approach. I appreciate it, Governor, for your efforts. I appreciate your efforts. Likewise from both the school board and from the Department of Health. Also, I'm really grateful for our private entities as well, especially Flagler Hospital. We have a business, an economic interest in this as well. It needs to be protected. And I appreciate your efforts in that and your recognition of that, because if not, it could be very, very, very destructive to our state as a whole. You know, the last time we went through this recession, agriculture brought us out of it, and that's my business. We're not there anymore because of imported diseases that have destroyed our economy. And whether it be greening, or now we got a southern pine beetle, other things that are happening around this state that are happening that we need to be aware of and cognizant of. I'm appreciative of your efforts to protect it all. Thank you very much.
I mean, what you said is right. We've got to educate everybody. If we keep everybody informed, we can put things in perspective. If on the health side we do our job, and on the mosquito side we do our job, and then the rest of us constantly are educating everybody, I think that, I mean, we're going to do fine. But we got to keep educating people. You got to tell people. And I was on a lot of TV last week. And this is 1 mile square radius in Lyman. We have, you know, and we have, you know, we have 20 million people live here, and 110 million people are visiting this year at least. So.
And you know, it wasn't too long ago, we had the Oriental fruit fly down there as well. It was 86-mile radius that a lot of people aren't aware of, that was very impactful on the economic interest that we have.
Yeah.
That thing spreads, we can end up in a real detriment. And I'm glad it's contained to 1 mile, and that's a blessing rather than 86.
We have to keep it up. We have to keep it up. Anything?
No, I concur with Chairman Smith on our county that, you know, we hear a lot around this table about education. Dr. Alcott, I'll have to throw out, you know, 2-time Sterling Award winner, #1. We have a race between Miami-Dade and St. Johns County, because we know we're really #1 in a lot of things.
I like every county.
Yeah. That's right. I have to advocate. But it's interesting because our county, you know, a big economic driver is education, and we're tackling this.
It really is for your county.
It is a huge economic
perception.
On the Board of County Commissioners, we recognize that. That is a huge economic driver, our education. And look at what we're tackling this problem with, education. Everything from, we've got higher education, all the way down to our kindergartners with the SPIL programs. It's indicative of our people. It's indicative of our elected officials. It's indicative of you driving home that these are, you know, education is very important. And that goes all the way with our other industries in tourism. We want to take care of ourselves, and it's blocking and tackling. And all of this training that we've done to prepare for a moment like this, we're going to execute. And if everybody executes, we should be okay.
So I just, you know, to echo your comments earlier, I think that with the diversity of students in the state college system, we have a lot of adults that we can mobilize to help carry the message as well. So whatever we can do to assist, I know President Pickens has already spoke to that, but we are just whatever we can do, because we have such a broad spectrum of people to help carry the message.
But if there's anything, Dr. Phillip or I can be doing that you think we ought to be doing, don't hesitate to call us. So, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
I just want to say that Dr. Shue, I'm Gary Howell, Chairman of the Mosquito Control Board, and Dr. Shue had called me, and he was so excited about this Zika virus that he started speaking in Chinese, and had to slow him down just a little bit. But he has a tremendous program, which everybody's heard of, the Fountain of Youth. We have a lot of mosquitoes there. We have a lot of tourists there. Downtown, we have a lot of tourists. So we got together, myself and the rest of the commissioners and Dr. Shue, and our educational specialists, and said, how can we whip this thing? So we put boots on the ground and started going, just like the mayor said, door to door. And we met in a little park close to her house, and they had an old fountain there that was defunct. And guess where we found mosquitoes? In her little fountain. So, but all of the people that work together, all the agencies, St. Johns County, I hear this all around the room, and I've been here since 1948. Owned property for 45 years here in St. Johns County. When I was a boy, we had a lot of mosquitoes. We had a lot of people that were not educated in mosquitoes. Today, the two things that we need to emphasize is education and eradication. Working together, I feel we have the best agencies in St. Johns County. Working together, we're like a puzzle, and we all come together. We have a little bit of difference of opinion. We talked about that. But guess what? When it's time to get tough, we get tough, and we do what we need to do. And Governor, I want to thank you personally for having the initiative to tackle this thing head on, put it out in the public, and call in the right people to do the right jobs. We support you 100%. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So what else? Anything else we ought to be doing that we're not? I can't solve any problems I don't hear about, so you gotta be active. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey there, Governor. My name is Paul. We owner of Kingdom Management, and we manage probably 100 homeowners associations, and that equates out to about
All in St. John's.
St. Johns County and Duval County.
And Duval.
And it equates out to about 30,000 units. And I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that maybe people are not thinking of. There's a lot of homeowners associations, particularly gated communities, that are self-sufficient. They do not have any interaction with any kind of government whatsoever. And the homeowners associations split most of the bill to all of the expenses for whatever utilities need to be taken care of in these communities. There's also a lot of communities that are 65 and older, whereas they don't have anything to do with children at all. They don't even allow them in the community. So
they won't watch the video.
They don't watch the video. And there's a lot of homes still in a lot of communities that are foreclosed homes, and they have pools in the back of these homes, and they have standing water. They're just sitting there, and banks don't even look at them, and nobody even else. They just make like they're not there. There's a lot of standing water in retention ponds and canals in a lot of these areas. And it used to, a long time ago, we used to see mosquito trucks come through the neighborhoods and do preventive spraying. And I'd like to know if there's any kind of preventive spraying that's going to be done in these communities. And if they're done in these homeowners associations, well, they're not going to have access to gated communities, and there are large swaths of areas that have gated communities, and they're not being touched by government at all. The standing water and retention ponds, is there some kind of something that can be done for these communities that have these retention ponds? There's a lot of canal systems going through particular areas where there's just standing water because the canals do not function as the way they're supposed to. That's basically things that I needed to touch on. We do have, I would say, probably 80% of the communities that we do manage, they all have websites. So if there's some kind of tool that we could, or information that we could get to those websites, that would be great. If you can get that down to us, we could get to that to the community. I can tell you that I've been to a lot of board meetings where the public is coming to the homeowners association boards, and they're asking the boards, well, what is the homeowners association doing about this, and what kind of preventive measures are they taking? And they're concerned about the retention ponds and the canals and the standing water and all that. And the best thing that homeowners associations can do is they put it back on the government side of the table, and and then people walk away frustrated because the homeowners associations are not doing anything to have it. They don't have anything to do anything with. I was just reaching out to see what y'all have.
You want to talk about what the mosquito boards are doing with regard to that?
Yeah.
I'll please let me to speak. Chris, you want to?
I'll start with it. So, to introduce myself, my name is Christopher Bibbs. I'm the education specialist with the Anastasia Mosquito Control District, and this will require both answering for myself as well as the Department of Health, so I'll just answer the mosquito part. First off, there is, to my knowledge, there are very few HOAs within the county that do not allow us in. Those ones that do not allow us in have specifically written in their covenants not to allow us in, and this, like I said, is very, very few. We have a very good working relationship with a lot of the HOAs, but again, that's with the management side of the HOAs. A lot of the constituents may not be similarly aware, but I do make it a priority effort every summer that I work with a lot of the HOAs on a personal basis, especially in growing areas. Like lately, I've had a lot of involvement with Wilcox Village, Cascades, for example, all through Bartram Trail, Julington Creek, not all of the Nocatee area, especially because they lie in our upper buffer zone as it transitions into Duval. So we do make a lot of effort to be involved with a lot of them and to spread some of this education, as well as to make our services aware. A lot of them have been had very good questions and have been pretty engaged with what our services offer. I do want to clarify that not all sources of water breed the culprit mosquito associated with our risk issues at the moment. Things like large retention ponds, canals, and other things, they breed very different sources of problems. So, for example, swamps and canal systems would breed West Nile vectors or malaria vectors, which, not to say they're not a priority, and we do treat those. But a lot of these campaigns and stuff are geared towards human refuge-generated sources of water, and sometimes not even in heavily manicured areas. For example, Palm Valley and Ponte Vedra can have just as many of these container-breeding mosquitoes from the places you suspect leaks, ruts and truck beds, stoppered rain gutter systems, and even things like keels in the leaves of special types of imported plants and other things. And so we do try a lot, but also realize that we have limited resources, and so we get as fast as I can walk over there. As regarding other things such as standing water, we'll say like code enforcement type aspects in DEP, that would be something for DOH, so I'll page right there.
That actually gets to our the Department of Health and our environmental health divisions, because what we have is we have responsibility if we get a complaint within 24 hours about standing water for situations that might be breeding mosquitoes and other bugs, that we have to go out within 24 hours and investigate. And then if it is true that those are situations that are breeding mosquitoes, that we then get back and we have to work with the homeowner, mosquito control, and code enforcement to have those situations abated. So there are different ways those can be abated, and they can be abated by getting back in touch with mosquito control and having the area sprayed. They can be abated by having what's called a dunk, which is a larvicide? Is it a larvicide? Make sure I'm saying it right. Larvicide that's put into like a pool or an abandoned pool, or for those houses that might be foreclosed. And those work for, I think, up to 6 months, I think, is that, or several months? Formulation, see, that's the mosquito part. We deal with the people part. That's the mosquito part. But people can work for quite a while, and so sometimes people don't realize that those work for quite a while, and those pools, we get the same call over and over for these houses. But we do go out within 24 hours when we have complaints about these situations. And we also work with the county works very closely with us in code enforcement when we have those situations. So we do go out and investigate those all around the county to make sure that we do not have areas where we have mosquitoes breeding in our county for abandoned pools or standing water.
So if you have a meeting of people that manage all these, I'm sure they would be interested in coming and making a presentation. And then if you get cards from them, you can call them. My experience, I'll tell you my experience, this is true with county government and state government. People want to do their job. Now, not everybody knows what they do often, but these people work hard. And so, but they'll be glad to come make a presentation.
Governor, I just want you to know that we have a proactive approach, not a reactive approach. So that's what we.
That's what I mean. You can tell from the
Health Department and the mosquito control together.
But if you have concerns, I would just get their cards and make a presentation.
Today we made a presentation, my team and Station Mosquito. Today made a presentation to Civic Roundtable, which is a group of homeowner association.
This morning.
And that was just this morning. So if we're asked, absolutely, that's what we'd like to do.
Great, thanks.
Is that helpful?
Very good.
Is anybody else in those? All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for your attention.
Maybe I will do our bill over there. So we're good about 2 seconds.
right.
when the risk are.
Pediatricians, the first trimester, second trimester, how they, and then children who may experience some of these symptoms, what do they do? What be doing? The index of suspicion.
You mean get out of your way, that'll, I'm a better door than a window.
And I think now, for a number of years, right, anybody that's that wants the test is going to get the test. Yeah, going to get the test. That's what, should be covered.
I'm right around the corner from having them. So you looking at the student? Because I can't behind time Okay. Okay, very good, thank you.
All right.